Hi Positive Readers, it's Positive Writer today with another video, and today I'm going to be telling you how I am the Avatar. So basically, the ATLAthon just finished up yesterday, and I am super excited to announce that I am the Avatar, aka I have completed every single challenge given to us by our lovely host, aka myself included in that. And I'm just super excited to be sharing the books with you today and to be sharing my victory with you guys. Because I really, at sometimes, did not think I was going to do it, but I did it. And I am now the Avatar, which is crazy because the next Avatar in line is Earth. So this was foreshadowed. Anyway, without further ado, we're going to get into the books that I read and all that. So I'm going to get my prompts together so I can go down a list in order. And then we're going to just get started with this. So, the first book was Zuko, Give a Book a Second Chance. That was the first challenge. And I read All the Beautiful Lies by Peter Swanson. And I finished it because I was going to I DNF'd it for Goodreads last month. And I was like, nah. But I did give it another chance and it ended up being great. I really enjoyed it. That's an overstatement, actually. I gave it 2 stars. It wasn't that good. It didn't get much better than it was when I DNF'd it. It got a little better, which is why it's not a 1-star, aka a War Storm twin, but still. It wasn't anything special. It was way less than average. I could have done without it. The next book was Azula, and that was Read a Book with an Interesting Villain, and I read Big Little Lies by Leanne Moriarty, and I loved it. I did enjoy the TV show more, but that's probably by design because they do different stuff, and stuff in the TV show is different. And it might just be because I watched the TV show before I read the book. But anyway, I did read the book. I really enjoyed myself. I loved it. I love being in the world. I love being with those characters, and I definitely want to rewatch the TV show now because I love those characters way too much. So. The next book that I read was Iroh for the group book, which I did end up reading, The Rise of Kyoshi by FCE, which I enjoyed a lot. I love the Avatar world, and going back into that after so many years of no content was really refreshing for me. I really enjoyed myself. It felt just like I was watching it. It was amazing. FCE did an amazing job. I definitely, I think the book was great, and if you read it, hopefully, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Moving on to the Earth Kingdom, that was the Fire Nation, the Earth Kingdom, aka my territory. Tough. Read a book with the Chosen Family. With the Chosen Family, I chose Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. Sorry. This came up on a list of a whole bunch of books with Chosen Family, so I just picked it out because I know a lot of people were reading it at the time, which is really funny because I ended up freaking loving this. I did not expect anything out of this book. I did not look at the blurb or anything. All I knew was that it had a Chosen Family and that I was going to like it, maybe because everybody else was like, nah, not really that. But I thought I might like it. I haven't read a YA fantasy book in way too long. For a good reason though, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna try and hope for the best, and I loved it so much. It's non-generic, it's amazing, the Chosen Family is great, and I love the main character, I love the love interest, I love the other characters, the other people that end up being important to the story. I love this book, and I probably will I'm gonna have a book chat coming out because I made an entire list of stuff that I love about this book because I loved it, and you need to read it. The entirety of Booktuber decided to read it at the same time as me, which I'm grateful for because I still have yet to go and watch all the reviews and all the videos about it, but I will be doing that soon. So I had a nice time with this one, and YA fantasy is definitely being redeemed in my heart. Sorcery of Thorns was about a girl named Elizabeth who basically has grown up in libraries and stuff, and you know, cause she's like an orphan, and so the library people took her in, and so she's training herself up, and they're training her to be a warden of the libraries, because in this world libraries come with freaking lives. Not libraries, but the books, they're called grimoires instead of books, and basically they have lives of their own and stuff like that, so they're not locked down and stuff in the library because otherwise they'll get loose and then terrorize people, and yeah. So yeah, and then basically the conflict that sets everything off is the director of her library that she's lived at all her life, and that the director that she really looks up to and loves, she dies. She gets killed because somebody lets out a level 10 grimoire, which is the baddest grimoire ever. Those are the ones that turn into monsters and stuff. I'm pretty sure they all do, but this turns into gigantic monsters, and yeah. So someone did this, and now she has to figure out what happened, why. It's amazing. Just read it. The next book for Earth was Suki, Read a Book with a Beautiful Cover, and for this I chose The Perfect Mother by Amy Molloy, and I loved it. I really enjoyed that book. I cried. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I cried at the Coast City Inn. but I really enjoyed it. It's a thriller. It's about these women called the May mothers who all had their children in May. I'm not sure if on the same day or not. I think it might have been, but I forgot. But anyway, there's this group of mothers, and basically they all have these babies or whatever, and they kind of just meet every day. It's in New York. They meet in the park every day or whatever, and they kind of just shoot the breeze, talk about babies, stuff like this. One day, one of the babies goes missing, and then it's just it's told over the course of 13 days, and basically what happened to these babies and stuff like that, and to this baby. And it was great. It was beautiful. I love me a good thrillers about mothers. They're my favorite, probably my favorite trope as far as thrillers go. So I definitely enjoyed this, and I gave it a 5-star for sure, and yeah, so I'm glad I picked that up for that. The next tribe, this time is the Water Tribe, and Qatar was the first challenge, and it was Read a childhood favorite, and I read The 39 Clues by Rick Riordan. I didn't remember that this was written by Rick Riordan, because I read this entire series back when I was in 6th grade, and I loved it to death, and I still do when I think about it, and now that I reread it, I love it to death even more, because I just remember it so fondly, and it was a great series. It's a mystery adventure type of series, really short, like 200 something pages, about these two, this brother and sister, kind of like some Spy Kids-esque type thing, but basically it's a brother and sister. This matriarch in their family dies, and turns out their family is gigantic, like the entire world is part of this family basically. Most of the important people are, and so when the grandma, this matriarchy, dies, she leaves in her will, she leaves money for everybody, but alongside the money, like instead of the money, you can also get this one clue. Give up your money, get this one clue, and then this clue could lead you to be the most powerful person in the world if you continue finding clues and stuff. Thus the 39 Clues. You guys, it's amazing, it's beautiful. It was written in 2008. I don't understand why people didn't talk about this more. Like, everybody loves Percy Jackson by this author, but I think this is way better. I have not read the Percy Jackson, but I can say without a doubt, this is probably the best thing he's ever written. I love it still to this day. So it doesn't even read like a middle grade novel. Definitely think you should read it. Yeah. The next book that I was for water is to read a book with interesting world building, and I read Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This book I'm pretty sure I gave like 4 stars to, just because the world building was so great that it was like too much. Like, obviously I get that they have to establish this whole futuristic society where there's a freaking game that you can like immerse yourself into, VR type thing or whatever. But I feel like it was just so informational, and for a book to be about like a game, I feel like it should have been way more fun to read. As far as the parts where they were explaining the game, I didn't feel like I was reading the textbook or something, and it was not the most. But I really enjoyed it. I've seen the movie, so I was like, you know, trying to compare stuff, and I like the movie better. I think it was done better than the movie anyway, because the plot of it and everything is better to see on screen rather than read. But I really enjoyed it. It was cool. It was fun. I enjoyed it. It was nice, and the world building was definitely good. At times, I just did not like it as a whole. The next book I read was for the Air Nomads, and this was Read a Happier or Hopeful book, and I did have If I Was Your Girl. No, I changed it to If I Was a Girl. I had Birthday by Meredith Russo on here, but the library did not send that one. They sent If I Was Your Girl instead, which I had also ordered like randomly. But I ended up reading that in like a night, and I really loved it. I loved it. I cried so many times. I really loved it. It was beautiful. It was so enjoyable. It's about a trans girl who goes to this new school, and she's going, and basically she starts liking this boy, and it goes from there, and it's kind of just about her life, and you know, like how she navigates high school and stuff, all this stuff. It was beautiful. I think you should read it, definitely, for sure. Read it immediately. I recommend it with every fiber of my being. It was absolutely beautiful. I cried on the acknowledgments, not even before I even started the book. So there's that. And the last book that I read for this readathon, technically not the last, because I did finish Sorcery of Thorns last. But anyway, we're not going to talk about that. The last book that was on these challenges, that is, I think, the perfect book to end off this readathon with if I had finished it last. I did finish it before that one, but just after I finished it last, was for the challenge, a book with a lovable pet, which I thought was going to be really hard to find. But what happened was, I googled books with lovable pets, and the first book that came up was The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. And as you can see, I'm smiling super hard right now because this was a favorite book that I read this month, this freaking readathon, this year. I love this book with every ounce of my life. I picked it up just because it was like, oh, a lovable pet, plus they're making a movie out of it, plus I watched the trailer and I thought it was cool. Why don't we read the book and then decide to watch the movie? That's what I did. I have not watched the movie yet because I just finished it yesterday, but I love this book with everything I have. It's 773 pages. No, I think 771, but still, I was blown away. I remember starting it and being like, this is so good. Like, I knew what it was kind of about because I watched the trailer and stuff, but I was like, this is so good. From the start, it was amazing. And then I looked at the page count, like 700 pages. You look how big it is. It's so heavy. I remember picking it up for the first time. My wrist felt like it was about to break off, like while I was reading this book for long periods of time, I swear. But it was all worth it. This book is absolutely beautiful, and I love it to death, and I want to buy the book like for myself, and I want to watch the movie. It's about a boy in New York whose mom dies because there's an accident, and basically it's just his life following that incident. He starts off like 13 and goes up to his like 20s. Y'all, I think this book is beautiful. It's beautiful. I love it so much, and I felt so connected to Theo, the main character, and I cried so many times, which is horrible because I was reading it while I was at school, because I guess that was like the only time I really had to read because we kept going on field trips, so I would read on the bus, and I literally would just wanted to sob, and I never got to, which is probably good because this book affected my moods. I love how I'm talking about this like it's like the review for this book only, but it's fine. It's what it deserves. I think you should read it, and I hope that this all is going to give you the motivation to read it. But anyway, this book affected my mood. I would just watch like a couple videos of people who have read it too, and they all said it took like months for them to read this book, and I'm like, what? I read this book in a week, less than a week, because I started it on I think Wednesday last week, and I finished it yesterday. So I read it in less than a week. I mean, I guess people don't have time or whatever, whatever. But I read it in that short amount of time, and it really affected my mood. And it's fun because this girl on YouTube, she said the same thing. She made a whole video about why you should read it, and one of the things was it really just like affects your mood or whatever you feeling, whatever he's feeling. Theo, who is the main character and the protagonist and the POV or whatever, the point of view, whatever he's feeling, you're feeling too, and it really has affected my moods. He goes through a lot of like sad periods of his life or whatever, and I've been feeling like trash like for days, and I'm like, why am I feeling so trashy? I've attributed it to my life. I'm thinking about all this stuff in my life, and it really is just the fact of this book amplifying all those bad things. So I definitely think you should read it though, because it's worth the experience, especially because it does not end. I'm not gonna tell you how it ends, but I definitely think you should read it. Despite all that, it makes it even more beautiful, and I just love the writing. And I'm gonna stop talking about this now. I am the Avatar. I am so glad for myself for reading all these books. I am a freaking victorious person. I'm very happy for myself, and I hope you're happy for yourself too, whether you finished it or not. So I hope you enjoyed this readathon. I hope you had a lot of fun like doing all the challenges and reading all the books and watching the show, which I did not do because I did not have time. But I hope you enjoyed all of this. Look forward to talking to you guys later in the future. Bye.